Hello and welcome to lesson 65 of the Learning Guitar series. In this lesson we're going to look at several topics. First and foremost, the fourth shape of Melodic Minor. We're going to look into the backing track that I prepared for this lesson and, somehow how to use it. Of course, you can use it musically to just, play along. But at the same time, it can be a very useful tool for practice. Last but not least, some interesting harmony and theory concept which can be applied to the way we actually build chords. And again, this can apply to melodic minor, but pretty much to any scale. In this case, as you will see. Anyway, let's start from melodic minor. And as usual, this lesson comes with some PDFs which are downloadable from my Patreon page. I take the opportunity actually to thank the patron who was supporting this project. So let's start from. I'm going to show you the PDF that comes with this lesson. So first and foremost, we have intervallic studies as usual. So we're looking at the shape of A minor. The PDF is written in G. Again, feel free. You should transpose it then in all other keys. And you have intervallic studies as always, like going from seconds all the way to octaves, including double stops and several variations of the same intervallic studies. From that point of view, nothing new under the sun in a way. The methodology is the same that we employed so far, not only for major modes, but also melodic minor modes in the last 4 lessons. The shape we're looking at, so basically looking to the shape of A minor. And what we mean by that is that now we're going to start transposing it. So of course this is still the shape of A minor, it's just that because now I'm operating at fret 6, this will be E flat minor. The scale that we're studying in this particular case is this. I'll do it in E flat, it doesn't matter. And if I wanted to play the A minor major 7, that would be the preferred chord for that kind of scale. It's a minor major 7 chords. But don't worry about melodic minor chords. Once we're done with the 5 shapes, we're going to look into the harmony and theory behind it, and also we're going to look into chords, minor major 7 type of chords and their extensions. So far, we can still stick just to a triadic chord. It's absolutely fine. As you can hear, it still works. And of course, as I said in the PDF, you have all the intervallic studies like... So you're basically looking at the same scale from many point of view, And it's a great exercise for you to actually retain the shape. So here is your shape. I could do it here, and then the scale shape would be the same. Which leads me, from their point of view, that's pretty much it. It's like just download the PDF and, practice intervals on the shape. What can be interesting is the backing track I created, once again, which is on YouTube. It's designed so that you can actually recap the 4 shapes you've done so far. And in fact, the progression goes D minor. And in that case, you would use melodic minor shape of A. And then it moves to B flat minor, because this allows you to use the first shape we've done, the shape of E minor, because that's where we are in now. And then it moves to G minor, but actually in the shape of D. And then it moves to E flat minor, and we're using this shape, so the shape of C. And the idea behind the backing track is literally so that you moving from one scale to another as the chord progression moves. And so you can use not only to, an individual scale, but actually transitioning from one to the other. If I did it without backing track, it would kind of sound like this. And basically those are the four scales, and just, diagonally, of course, like with the backing track, it's going to make more sense because you have a more robust harmony behind. But and since we haven't done that, the arpeggios for melodic minor, I don't expect you to get guide tones, if that makes any sense, while you're playing. And that's so so that's the second concept. And if you are an advanced Patreon supporter, also I created a PDF, so I'll show it to you. Further PDF, which you can download. So basically with a few instructions for how to use the backing track and all the scales that you're using mapped out. So here is the melodic minors, here is the potential Dorian, and basically what you're doing, you're moving from one to the other as the chord progression evolves, okay? And of course, pentatonics. And in the case of minor chords, like in this case, of course, we can always use multiple scales. In this case, we're kind of having fun using melodic minors, using a Dorian, because the difference between a melodic minor and Dorian is literally one note, where the major 7 in melodic minor becomes flat 7 for Dorian. And of course the pentatonic scale, because if you think of Dorian, pentatonic scale is 5 notes out of 7 of a Dorian scale. So basically it's a Dorian scale minus the 6th and the 9. So from that point of view, say you can always combine, in this case, okay, we have D minor. Actually, I'm going to freeze the chords so you can hear a few things. So here is a melodic minor. Here is Dorian. And here is your minor pentatonic. So, as I said, you can have a lot of fun at the same time learning some new sounds, because melodic minor brings this major 7 type of thing, and weaving in and out of it, you can create some very interesting melodic ideas. Now, the last concept I would like to talk to you, and this is in a way probably somehow the most interesting about this particular lesson, because that's what I'm going to talk about. This is this idea of constructing chords from scales. So far, all the chords we have studied, and now I'm referring to all the studies we've done from lesson 1 to, maybe 28. So all the major, minor, dominant 7, alpha diminished chords, which were associated with major modes. We've done a lot of chords which, very rooted into into the idea that, say, a major chord's got a root, a major third, and a fifth. And the third is what defines it as major, because the moment the third becomes flat 3, blah, 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 becomes a minor chord, and 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and all that kind of idea. Like cowboy chords and all the derivations of it. So, okay. We talked about that, and there's plenty of PDFs with explanations of those. In this case, what I'm doing is that what I want to discuss is like extracting notes from scales. And, we know from a theoretical point of view that 3 notes played simultaneously is a chord. Let me show you on a diagram what I mean. It's probably easier. So here I have a neck diagram. As you can see, the scale is always the same. All these diagrams, they look exactly the same. I highlighted a red dot because in this case, for this example, I'm assuming this is the root note. If this is the root note, let's say that this is fret 5, okay? It can be any fret you want, but let's assume this is fret 5, in which case this note would be an A note. And if this is the root note, then this would be a Dorian scale, because it would be 1, 2, flat 3, etc. But as you can see, for the first time in 65 lessons, I didn't put any interval. The intervals are not written. I'm just using dots, okay? Because what I'm wondering, and what I would like you to experiment with, is like, okay, if I play this note, and this note, is that a chord? Yes, of course it is. It's 3 notes. Is it a minor chord? No. Is it a major? No. More likely it's suspended because there is no third. The point is that it doesn't matter to us. In this case, we're not playing chords that we're supposed to write down what chord is that. Of course, we can always academically find it, but at the end of the day, music is about playing something and which either sounds good or it doesn't. The point I'm trying to make, if this is my scale, and the harmony of the tune, in this case, we're doing it A minor. The bass player is playing A. Maybe there is, some other harmonic instrument which are kind of implying a third or something, but even if it's not in there, the perception of minor will be there. I'll show you what I mean sonically. If I play you these 3 notes, I'm actually playing you an A note on the 5th fret, I'm playing you a G note on the 4th string, still the 5th fret, and then I'm playing you a C note. These 3 notes actually spell 1, flat 7, flat 3. So somehow I could say this is an A minor 7. Okay? Now, because your ears have heard minor, no matter what else I play off those notes, I'm going to pick up random notes from the scale. I'm going to keep the A, so it's 3 notes. There is no bass player in this case, so I'm, keeping the root note. No matter what I do, so in other words, right now, I'm not necessarily thinking of chord shapes. Now, if I was really thinking A minor as a chord, I might play this, I might play, this, I might play this. These are kind of stock chords. But what I was doing then is like I was actually visualizing the scale and picking up 2, because there is a bass, picking up 2 notes at least out of it, because that's a chord. That's a chord. I could pick up 3 notes, still from the scale. And as you can see, like most of the time, I'm actually not playing the flat 3. The flat 3 is not there. So in theory, it's not a minor chord. Whatever it is, if I stop in time, say if I play this, and if I stop in time and say, okay, what did I play? I played an A note. Let's assume that's the root note. So that's 1. Then I play an E note, and an E note from an A perspective is a fifth. Then I play the B note, and from an A perspective, that's a 9. So the intervals I'm playing are 1, 2, and 5 in this case. So that's a sus chord. If you really wanted to write, it's a sus 2. Okay. I could play, I don't know. Let's play this. Now I have a 4th and a flat 7. So, okay. So a lot of these chords somehow would be sus, and I'm only using 2 notes. If I did, I don't know, this. Now I have a 4 for flat 7, another root note. Or now I have a 9. As I said, like the idea is just to extrapolate sounds from the scale, and because you're playing 3 notes at the same time, we define them as chords. Would I write them down? Not necessarily. Just, I hope it makes sense. So let me show you graphically what I mean. So how do this note? So I'm going to keep the root note, and bear in mind, if you're playing with a bass player, it will be doing this. So that goes on a free, even, your fingers even more on the fretboard. Let's say, I can take these 2 notes. I can take these 2 notes. I can take these 3 notes. I can take these 3 notes. I mean, at the end of the day, I can take these 3 notes. I can take anything out of this scale, play it simultaneously. I can, I could take 4 notes. I can take these guys. I don't know, maybe these guys. This is the kind of thing that is ripe for experimentation. If you want to hear somebody really like pushing this idea of extracting chords from scales, I would say Alan Ashworth. He pushed the concept to an incredible extent, to the point is actually his main melodies before his solos are basically chords which he constructs this way, and then he uses his ears. I'm not sure, as I say, that they can be coded. With a bit of patience it can be done, but to be honest with you, I'm not sure it's really matters. I think what's interesting. I just put a little bit of delay. Say let's do this in E. I'm going to use the E. And in this case, if I want to use the same shape there, I mean, you can do this across the neck, obviously. So like if I use, in this case, let's do Dorian, okay? So E minor Dorian. That's one of the shapes. Of course, you have 5 shapes for everything. I hope you understand what I'm trying to get there. As I said, the idea at the end is 3 notes is a chord. So instead of creating chords, starting from, the positions that we know, the 5 shapes, in other words, right? I'm not thinking for E minor Dorian, I'm not thinking this anymore. I'm thinking of the scale. All the notes of the scale and combine 3 of them at the same time. As I said, if there was a bass player, so let's assume the bass player would do this. I mean, with no rhythm, I'm just going to freeze it. Now I can still build 3 notes chords, and I don't even have to play the root. I can literally, think of the scale. Let's see what this. carried away a little bit. I hope it makes sense. This is the kind of stuff that you cannot write a book about, because the amount of permutation, given a root note and add 2 notes from a scale, the amount of permutations possible are, I'm sure is a finite number, but there are so many, there is no point. You really want to sit down and experiment. Like decide a chord, it could be major, it can be anything. So like E major, here is E Ionian. So, can be any chord. So establish a root note, think of the scale that will go with that, and build voicings, chord voicings, based on extracting notes from the scale. As I suggested, if you want to hear that pushed to a very high level, and of course, I understand it's jazz and fusion, and not everybody is into jazz fusion and stuff like this, but still, from an educational perspective, listen to some Alan Ashworth. And yeah, you will hear a lot of this really applied to, to his way of writing. The way I applied, for example, is pretty much applied to comping. If I'm comping for somebody and there is whatever chord that there is on the chart, sometimes I might use stock chords, kind of voicing. Sometimes I'm just, it's the sound of it. And if you are into ambient music also, like, you try some of this stuff, you put a lot of delays and reverbs on it. It's actually very interesting. I cannot do it right now, but it can be very interesting. This is kind of with an A bass. Think of this with I don't know. I don't have a lot of reverb right now. But. Lots of noodling in this lesson. As I said, it's something you really want to sit down at some point when you have time and try this kind of stuff. The concept, as I said, is kind of simple to think about it. It's like, I have a scale, I'm extracting 3 notes out of that. Establish a root note in your head at least. Like, okay, this is for A minor, or this is... But overall, just have fun. I hope this makes sense. So, kind of 3 topics: melodic minor, shape of A, practice the intervals. Once you get your head around that, now you should have 4 shapes of melodic minor: lesson 62, 63, 64, and 65. Start using the backing track to play along, but stay within the limit of what we're trying to practice here, so that you're recapping the 4 shapes you've done so far. And of course, feel free to expand on that. And also some chord voicings, which are, not derived from stock positions, but rather extracting notes from scales. I hope it makes sense. I hope you're learning something. We're all learning something all the time anyway. And thank you again. Thanks again to the Patreon supporters. And last but not least, thanks to the people that subscribe to you, to the YouTube channel. If you haven't done so, consider supporting this project on Patreon. It's been a pleasure. Until next time. Bye.